Good morning and welcome to the Natural Farm here in YWAM, Kona. We are here today, got Matt with me, and we're looking at this rain catchment tank. It was built about 10 years ago, and we are investigating why it is not filling at the moment with rainwater. It's either rainwater's not getting in or water's getting out faster than it can get in. And so we just thought we'd take this opportunity to do an inspection and go a walk around the tank. So let's go on up, Matt, and see what we can see.
Good.
So they call this a ferrous cement tank, and it's made using essentially chicken wire as a reinforcement and several layers of cement, as it is made using a plywood form, and a separate lid is then made and placed on the top. So here we are. The tank is about 2,000 gallons, I'd say. That's what, 2,500 gallons. And here we can go. We're going to take a look inside.
All right.
Been drained and cleaned.
Let's come on in here. As you may be able to tell, the tank is empty. Good long walls here.
So yeah, we can see the tank's looking very good condition for its age. There's no signs internally of any cracking that are major anyway. It's still very clean, very smooth. The connections to the floor look really good as well, as you can see, hey Matt?
Yeah.
So where the tank walls connect to the floor is another area where you can have leaking. The drain is holding water. There's a little puddle of water you may have seen inside the tank, and that puddle's been there for a while. So that gives us some confidence that the drain and plumbing is the integrity of that is still intact. So we've kind of, at least from the inside and looking at the drainage, we've concluded that there doesn't seem to be anything there. Let's jump down and take a look around the outside of the tank and see if we can see any obvious signs of leakage.
See what we can find. What is a very noticeable sign of leakage, you would say?
From the outside of the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can see some staining here. This can be an indication that there's been some water dripping. In this case, it's very likely that it's just the water draining off the top of the tank and just coming down and leaving, some residue of whatever it might have picked up on the top of the tank, any dust. We have a lot of volcanic, fog here, as you know, Matt. So that creates a lot of dust and things settling on the surface of objects. So that's probably what this could be. But yeah, if we saw a crack in the tank, we know there's actually one down here we saw earlier. Yeah, this it looks like a substantial crack, but there's really no evidence of water that might be seeping here. If there was water, we would expect to see some white discoloration, some staining, but this seems like it's been really dry. No indication that water's been seeping out of the tank. And because these tanks, they're made in layers of cement, sometimes only this one layer cracks and then the second layer doesn't crack. And this is probably what happened in this case. It's just a superficial cracking that's happened as cement expands and contracts, especially when it's curing. So here we probably just cured, and it looks like we can see here the crack goes into the paint, and this was painted about the same time it was built. So this crack probably has been here longer than the paint's been on, and we know the paint's been on for a number of years, and so that could be one of the original cracks from when the construction occurred.
Would more painting help reduce the number of superficial cracks, you think?
Some paint is able to expand and contract and cover over a certain amount of cracking.
Sure.
Like this one, it looks like it was painted over and then the cracks didn't move anymore. And so that can be a way of covering it up aesthetically and making it fix the job. Yeah.
Good.
Let's take a look to see. You can see the markings from where the water's been dripping down from where it gets into the tank. And this is worth pointing out. If you can feel here, Matt, it goes from smooth to rough. And so just that continuous, very small amount of water, running down the tank, it does take away some of the finer particles of the cement and just create a rougher surface. Not detrimental to the structural integrity or anything.
Okay.
But you can expect, if you have perpetual rain and perpetual constant dripping along your tank, that you might get this kind of staining or this changing of the surface. So something to keep in mind. if the tank is going to be in a prominent location, that to avoid continual running off of the tank.
But it's still structurally sound, like you said.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's purely
All
a
right.
visual thing right here on the farm. It might
Yeah.
matter too much. We're a working farm.